So in today's lesson, we'll learn how to use a single texture to repeat it on one material to create some star things like this, and also how to link them to other effects, like for example when I open my mouth. Also how to do the same thing with text as well. And lastly, how to bring in some gifs to make little animations like this. Let's do it. So again, we'll start with the sharing effect. Then I will give you guys another folder in the description. We'll start with the star tile. Then I'll make just a plain material, change it to flat, and then set the texture to star tile. And then down in the texture area, actually I'll make this big. Down in the texture area, when you go down the bottom, you see tiling mode. Change these both to repeat. So now when you go into the material, you see these tile numbers. So let's say I do 2 and 2, you can see it's just doubled the texture. So then what you can do, you can make it bigger and then do even more. So maybe 10 and 10. You see it's just repeating the texture a lot. So next I'll do it to screen, and then a bit bigger, duplicate it, move one of them back a bit, and you'll see it's sort of like making a bit of a spacey effect. We'll add a face tracker and add these to the face tracker, so then you'll see the stars move with my face. Change these to 5. So to make the stars stand out a bit more, I'll also add this full screen black thing again. Chuck this in here, and then you can play with that to see how dark you want it. Here's a cool little star effect. You can also add this to a face mesh. So for example, add this, I'll just hide these for now, and then change this material to the one, actually let's go add a new one, flat texture star tile, and we'll do 2 and 2. Screen again. So that's on a face. You could add it to objects. So for example, I'll do add it to a sphere. Import, then add this, change this material to, let's go the first one, hide the face mesh, make this a bit bigger. And also, if we wanted to see both sides, at the moment we're only seeing the outside, so we'll change this to double-sided, and also change this, turn these off. So because it's pretty big, we can change this to 10 now. Sort of like a dome of stars around my head. Move this a bit back. Yeah, so that's how to style on many types of objects. So then we'll do the next one with a different tile. You can either start a new effect or just carry on from this one. So I'll add a different plane, and then I'll import as well this fractal one from the folder. And then same thing, you have to change these settings down here to repeat. So I'll add this to a new material and the fractal one this time. So you'll see as well I can do 3, 3, and we'll repeat the pattern. So we'll do something a bit differently here, so I can do some animations on there. What you have to do is go in the material, click this little texture arrow, and drag this texture from here onto the patch graph, and we'll drag this to a texture transform patch. And then from here we'll do a I think it's 2D. We'll drag that one to a 2D transform pack. Then input this to here. So we'll go back to what it originally was because we need to change the things in here. So to do the repeat, it's the scale. So if you want to double it, you just half it on here. So now the advantage of doing this is we can animate these values. So let's say I do a loop animation and drag this to a transition. And vector 2, drag this into here. You'll see it's changing. I'll click this to mirror it as well and then make it maybe 0.1 to let's say 0.8. You can also do the same thing with another loop to the rotation of it. So we'll do progress, we'll do another transition, but you have to change it to one number and join it to here, and we'll do 360 degrees. So then you see it rotates. I'll take mirror it off actually. And if it's moving too fast, you can change this duration. Maybe this one too. Actually, I will change this material to a screen. So at the moment, this is linked to animation patch, but you could link this to other things, like for example, the mouth openness. I'll show you. So we drag this, drag the face out to open, mouth open. And then instead of the loop animation going to the transition, we could put this openness here. So that would be on the translation. I'll turn this rotation one off. So you see when I open my mouth, it changed the fractals. So yeah, you can link this up to pretty much anything else. You could link it to how your face is rotating. You could link it to sound as well. You could link it to how close your face is to the screen. There's many options. We can also, if I turn this sphere back on, I could change this material back to the new one. I think when I open my mouth as well again. So I'll put this back to double-sided and change this. And again, I'll add it to the face mesh. I add these ones. Turn this back on and put the new material. So as well, when the tile is white, you can use this color to change the color of it. So for example, like that, like this. And I'll move on to the next one. So I'll do one where you can do one with text. So here's one with text. I'll just remove this thing. And same thing, it's just importing this texture. I put that in the folder as well. And changing these to repeat. And then it's the texture and the material. Same thing, you can do it like this. So to make your own textures, all you have to make sure is that the sides of it, so for example 512, 512, the sides have to be a certain number, like a power of 2. So for example, one side could be, for example, 256 by 256 or 1024 by 1024, and then it will be tileable. So yeah, you'll notice that all of these textures are squares like that, 256, 256, and they don't have to be squares. It's just the side that you want to repeat, the side that you want to carry on will have to be one of these numbers. So yeah, I think it's 64, 128, 256, 512, and 1024. I'll put a number on the screen, I guess. And here's an example with the same tile texture, but with two different. So up here you can see the tile. One is on 5 and one is on 10, and I just put them on 2 different face meshes. So you can see you can have a lot of fun with this. And also another advantage of this is it doesn't take up much space. So you can reuse this one texture and create many different images with it. So for this one, we'll import this fire gif image. Then from down here, up the top, you'll see the type as single texture. So change that to sprite sheet. Then you have to set the numbers to the proper rows, columns, and sprites. So the rows, we see there's 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. So change that to 3. And also the columns is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we leave that the same. Sprites is how many individual images there are. So we can see that there's 1 missing. So it's 11 images because there's 11 small flames down here. Now from here, we have to create with the plus animation sequence. So I'll just call this fire animation. Then up on the texture for that, we select fire GIF. Now I'll make another plane, create a material, flats, and set this to, what did I call it, fire animation. You see you got a little fire animation there. You also notice it's going a bit fast, so we can change, if you click the fire animation down in the textures, and then change the FPS to, let's say, 12. Also, to get rid of the black, as usual, we can go into the material and change it to screen. And you got a little flame there. And this also looks cool if you add it to the face tracker. So I just dragged the face tracker here. And then position it, let's say by the eyes. And then duplicate to do 1 for each eye. If you get this flickering thing like you sort of see here, make sure you change the material to untick these advanced render options. So the way that you can turn pretty much any GIF into one of these sprite sheets. I'll show you how to do that on Google. So from here, I just searched on Google Fire GIF. You can search whatever GIF you want. And then let's say I want this one. You can right click it and copy image address, and then go to something. I would just search, for example, GIF to sprite sheet. So let's just do it from scratch. And then it's this easy GIF one. And then it will bring you here. So then, let's see from scratch. So you can paste this image URL here and then click upload. Then you get some options like this. So what you have to do, I would say just don't change any of the options for now. Just try convert to sprite sheet and see what happens. So to me that looks pretty good for now, but a piece of advice, I would try to get it as square as possible. So we can see that it's 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty square already, so that's fine. But yeah, try to get it square, because in the software the maximum width and height is going to be 1024, and it'll make your images look pixely. So then from here you can just save this image as, and then you would just bring it in like how we brought in this fire GIF and go through that same process again.